My story, how I transitioned from sit and goes into tournaments, what it takes to transition from one format to another one. In around 2011, I got involved with the online poker scene, but at this time I was not a winning player yet. I tried out a lot of different formats, I can't even remember, I think everything. But it took some time that I actually understood that I was just not ready for it. I was not working structured, so nothing worked out actually. In 2012 or late 2011, that's where I actually dedicated towards sit and goes. I took a more structured approach, I found a coach, I arranged a deal with the coach because I couldn't pay the rate, but actually 4 months later I was playing higher levels than my coach was playing. Then I played sit and goes for many years. I really loved the format, it was quick, I could play it whenever I want. Pokerstars at that time had a VIP program where you could reach Supernova or Supernova Elite. I reached the highest one multiple times, then it happened. What happened? Supernova Elite got cancelled. And I woke up with a new reality knowing, okay, sit and goes, this is a dying format. It was incredibly important to have this good amount of rakeback in order that hyper sit and goes where you start with 25 big blinds can work. So I was sitting there knowing, okay, my format is dying. What should I do? Should I just stay here, accept that there will be less games from day to day, like seeing the situation getting worse and worse? And I figured out, okay, I'm not going to stay here, I need to find a new challenge. At that time, spin and goes were introduced. And spin and goes is actually, I think, the closest format to sit and goes. But there was an issue. In sit and goes, I was playing the highest stakes, the $1,000 games. And I was playing them only. Sometimes I was adding 500s, but I was really like never playing lower. And spin and goes were available for $60. In terms of like setting myself a challenge, in terms of motivation, I knew that's not a course I could take. I cannot go from an average buy 900 to an average buy in 60 and stay motivated. What is the next alternative? Cash game? Cash game is possible, but let's not forget what makes the sit and go so unique. It's the ICM part. Being big stack, making pressure on the short stack. I had years of experience in those kind of situations, and up to this date, ICM is still a big challenge where nobody knows what's really like optimal. And in cash games, I don't have any of that. So I don't want to give up one of my biggest strengths, what I learned with much experience, many years of studying. What is left? And it's actually a great opportunity. It's tournaments. Tournaments was a format which has very long-term sustainability. There were already a lot of successful players out there. That was then my decision. I want to get on top of MTTs. So if I set myself a challenge and if I want to be very motivated, I cannot set a target where I'm satisfied with playing mid-stakes tournaments. Don't get me wrong, I respect everybody who is able to play mid-stakes tournaments. That's a great achievement. But let's try to understand my own situation. I was on the very top of the sit and go world, and now I cannot go to mid-stakes tournaments. I need to be able to compete with the best players in tournament. And I knew there will be issues because those players, they have years of experience, they are years ahead of me. And I have never played deeper than 25 big blinds in my life basically at that point. 25 big blinds, for you guys who don't know, it's a very easy way of playing. If you have pocket sevens or ace jack and somebody opens, well, you just go all in, right? So that's really fun in sit and goes. But what about your 50 big blinds deep? What about 80 big blinds deep? What should I do? I was completely lost in that stage, and I knew it takes me an enormous amount of effort to be on a high level. That time was around, I think, 2016, and that's where the first solvers were released. Nowadays, there are training platforms, there are solvers, you can subscribe to a platform like Pokercode where you have a lot of different content out there. You can use solvers yourself, but back in 2016, 2017, that was not the case. There was no pre-flop solutions out there at all. There was very little post-flop content out there at all. And I knew that's my opportunity, because regardless if the successful tournament players had years of experience ahead of me, none of them had the chance to work with solvers before that because they didn't exist at that point. And I knew, okay, that's the way I'm going to get on top. I'm going to rent servers, I'm going to work with solvers all day, calculate pre-flop strategy, get familiar post-flop, and that's what I was doing. I was writing down a list of what things I need to improve. And the list, guys, believe me, it was very, very long. Playing deeper than 25 big blinds, pre-flop, post-flop. What to open, what to defend, what to do against free bets, how does turn and river play work if you're not short enough that you can just go all in every time. So I took off around half a year. I was studying every single day with solvers. After around half a year, I was actually very confident on the tables. I had the ranges. Still nothing was publicly available at this point of time. And fortunately, I also got good support from some very successful guys in the poker scene who helped me to get into high tournaments. And then I just applied the strategy that I learned, that I was studying. I want to share you some experiences as well, because back in the days, it was normal to free bet around 3 or 4 times the amount of the opener, right? So if the opener opens, let's say 2 big blinds, and you're in the blinds, then you free bet maybe 7 big blinds, maybe 8 big blinds. But I knew from my results that's not good, what the people are doing out there. The good size is to just bump it up, go 11 big blinds deep. And I recall when I played live and I did this the first time, people looked at me probably thinking, what is this guy doing? I didn't care. I knew what I'm doing is correct. I was confident in it. And as we can see today, it worked. I was able to compete in the highest stakes. I was very happy about that. If you want to transition, I think the first thing to identify is what are the skills that you don't have that are required for your new format. So if you're currently playing spin and goes or sit and goes, what are the things that you're not used to? You're not used to playing early position. What to open early position? You're not used to playing against a strong range. So write down the things that you're not used to, where you don't have the skills yet to play that. And then in the next step, you can try to figure out how can you get that skill. Nowadays, the content is out there. It's easier to access the content and to learn those skills. For example, if you're subscribed to Pokercode, you can go to our homepage and you can just click the video for it. You want to know something about early positions, then you do it. You want to know about something about deep stack, if that's something where you don't have the skills yet, go watch videos about deep stack, get more familiar in that area. It also works opposite. What about you're a cash game player and now you want to play a little bit of heads up? Everything will be different. Now in the small blind, suddenly you are acting last post-flop. You're in position if you're playing heads up. Compared to a cash game, when you're small blind or in a tournament, you will always be out of position. So everything changes. Pre-flop changes, post-flop changes. That's how I approach changing formats and being successful with it. If you have confidence in something you're doing, if you have seen it from videos, don't worry if people look at you weird or thinking like, how could you call it? What a fish or whatever. You don't need to justify yourself. Actually, I really like this feeling if other people think I was doing something stupid, because in myself I was happy. I knew, oh, okay, they actually don't know about it, right? So don't get insecure, just stay with what you're doing, what you're confident with. If you like this kind of content, let me know in the comments below. Have you transitioned from one format to another one and what was your experience with it?